Konza. Konza is a tall, middle-aged man with brown eyes and a bald head. He's also got some tattooed dots on his forehead. Konza is a former member of the Raiders and was introduced as one of the first ever members of the Raiders back in Chapter 12, where he, along with another Raider, and also Jabber, had been sent to capture Rudo. His real showcase of strength was when he and another Raider were going to go and fight against Zanka, putting up a somewhat decent performance before they ultimately got done over by him. Konza's vital instrument is a pair of snowshoes. These shoes allow for mobility in all sorts of terrain, whether it be clay or mud, with ease. We then fast forward a bit as we get to the Heritage Mural arc, where we see him for the next time. Here he had been revealed to have been kicked out of the Raiders, most likely because he failed to capture Rudo. But after that, he got put down pretty easily by the Hellguard, and more specifically Kyuka, who just killed him with her gun. The next one is a no-name. Now you might be confused about what I mean by that, but she really has no name stated. Anyway, she was the Raider who was together with Konza to capture Rudo. This unnamed character had a spade jinki, with which she could create muddy ground or even holes in the ground, and also, of course, some clay dolls, making her a very solid partner to Konza, who, together with his vital instrument, wasn't bothered by the clay. Fu Orostor. Fu has blonde hair with salmon pink roots and green eyes under his mask, which, I don't know, makes him look a bit like Batman, but it might just be me. After that, his outfit is just pretty much the standard Raiders outfit, but while on that topic, Fu is actually an ex-member of the Raiders, meaning that he is no longer working with them, and instead, he has done a complete 180, as he is now working together with the cleaners on a trial basis. Fu seems to be pretty inexperienced in combat, as when he was talking to Engine, he asked him if he could let him beat him. Now Fu's personality is very interesting, as he feels extremely dependent on being given orders. This has all started from his fear of taking responsibility for his own actions. That's when he realized that if he did something based on the orders of someone else, then the blame would ultimately fall on them instead of him taking the blame. Anyway, in the Trash Storm arc, after Fu failed to stop Engine, he was kicked out of the Raiders, but that's when someone called He, which we'll get to soon. But anyway, they told him to go to the cleaners, which is what he did ultimately. Now onto his vital instrument, which is also called He. He is a cursed doll, and its powers are based on a pact it made with Fu. Along with He, they can use an ability called Body Swap, which means that when Fu has no one to order him around and needs power, his doll He takes over his body, changing his demeanor significantly and becoming much more volatile, both in his power and in personality. Norda. Norda was a member of the warrior tribe Silea and also previously a rookie of the Raiders. Firstly, let's go over the warrior tribe. So Silea was a warrior tribe of women in the Southlands. However, unfortunately, they were wiped out 6 years ago from a trash downpour by the Trash Storm. This destroyed their whole hometown and also heavily polluted the zone. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyway, Niordi is someone who has a lot of pride, even so much that she looks down on most of her opponents and calls them kittens before going into battle with them. She is also very sacred with her hair, as when Rio tried to cut it, Niorde became super insulted by that and got extremely hurt. While on that topic, let's talk about the Trash Storm arc where she was fighting Rio. They were pretty even in their fight. After that, they decided to fight in hand-to-hand combat, which didn't last that long, as they then used their weapons. But after both of them were extremely beaten up and damaged from each other's blows, Rio wasn't having it anymore and just casually pulled out her gun and shot her. However, she didn't kill her here, as she had promised Engine not to kill. Also, quick side note, I was so shocked when this happened, but it was so cool. However, even though she was supposed to not be able to fight anymore, she quickly recovered, and thanks to another Raider member, who we will get to soon, she was transported to the final fight, where she tried to really lock in and use all of her powers to stop the cleaners from running Zodel's plan. But one thing led to another, and it ended with the big trash beast that they were inside of opening up a hole, and Norda being sent out into the sky, where she was met by the Watchman and discovered something in the last second. But unfortunately, she didn't get to say it to Zodel because her body was later discovered by Hayo and she was confirmed dead. Now let's get into her abilities and vital instruments. Norda was a master in combat, as she was strong enough to keep up with Rio. She also has insane speed, as she kicked Rio before she was able to block it with her scissor. She also possesses electrokinesis, as with the help of her vital instrument, she can shoot a bunch of lightning sparks from her hair that become even more destructive if her hair is down. Now what even is her vital instrument? Well, it's called Mire, and it's a comb that allows Norda's hair to get charged with electricity when she uses it in her hair. However, it does have a limit of a minute or two before she has to charge her hair again. On top of that, she has the attack Last Burst, which is that by going beyond her time limit, she discharges a stream of electricity over a large area at the cost of her hair completely burning out. That's what she used against the cleaners in the end. Momoa. Momoa is the first person on this list who is still actually in the Raiders, which is a great start. Momoa has long and wavy dark green hair, and she also has a pair of headphones, which she always carries with her, which is actually her vital instrument, but it's something we will get into later down the line. Momoa has a pretty calm demeanor, and she usually acts carelessly and expresses little emotion due to her immersing herself in music or other people's memories, basically just acting a bit nonchalant. Momoa has always loved the world of music, and even when her headphones broke, they turned into her vital instrument, which allowed her to hear the memories of others, which is an ability Zodel definitely couldn't pass up, which is why she was promoted to the Raiders' front line, despite her lack of pure combat ability. While on that topic, let's jump right into her abilities. First up is her mind manipulation, as Momoa has a defender-type vital instrument, which pretty much means that she has no offensive abilities. However, with her vital instruments, also known as ASIL, she can use something called tactile telepathy, which is that she can hear all the memories of anyone she touches while the vital instrument is active. The last time we got to see her was in the Information Broker arc, where she managed to touch Kuro, but as he has been gathering information since, who knows for how long. Momoa fainted after gaining some of his memories, and Kuro said that she wouldn't wake up for about a month. Katoni Andor. She's actually 27 years old, even though she looks to be about Rudo's age, but still she is one of the most important raiders. Katoni always wears a bag on her back, which is used for storing her manhole, which is her jinki. Her personality is pretty similar to Momoa's, as she is always emotionless and often has no expression at all, and is generally very quiet. Sadly, there's not like a ton to her. As previously mentioned, she is very quiet, so I guess that we will dive into talking about her abilities right away. So her vital instrument is called the manhole, and it possesses the light ability. With it, she can use something called warping. This allows her to teleport herself and other people to different locations, making it perfect for normal transportation. The ability has a limit though, because in bright places, she can only warp to places that she has passed through before. But this limitation is removed in the dark, where she can go anywhere she wants. Bundus. Bundus is actually the oldest Raiders member, as he is 44 years old. On top of that, he is super tall, as he is 200 centimeters. His appearance is pretty standard, as he looks normal while having a cowboy hat, and also a weird giant silver thing on his arm. I haven't 100% understood it, but I'm pretty sure it helps with his vital instrument. Bundus's personality is that of a very calm man, who usually doesn't get angry while fighting, but like any other member of the Raider, he is super loyal to Zodel, as he has a ton of respect for him. Anyway, now on to the fun part, which is talking about his vital instrument, which is called hands. This is a vital instrument, which is the prosthesis of Bundus, and has a group of 6 long mechanical arms that pop out of the pipes on his arm thing. He has acquired a hand in different years of his life, and all have different abilities. First up is his first hand, which allows Bundus to reach anything he sees. Next is his second hand, which he received at age 18. This hand has sharp talons capable of cutting things it comes into contact with. The third he got at age 20, and it has the capability of stretching out a long distance to attack opponents from far away. The fourth hand and its abilities are still pretty unknown. The fifth hand he got at age 35. Together with this, he is capable of moving in unclear patterns and taking on random shapes, making his attack unpredictable. The sixth hand he got at age 40, and it's capable of significantly increasing its size, making it more invulnerable to attacks. Lastly, for his equipment, he has an antique that bears the name of the Undertaker. Bundus had been looking for it for a long time before finally receiving it as a reward from Zodel for being accepted into the Raiders' front line. Jabberwonger. Now he's pretty much the first strong villain we saw in the series, if I'm not mistaken, as he was honestly going pretty nuts against both Zanka and Rudo in one of the first arcs. Now who really is Jabber then? Well, he's been described as a masochist and someone with a violent obsession for fighting, which fits perfectly with him. However, he does look down on people whom he sees as weak, which is why he acknowledges someone like Zanka, but not Grizz. Usually, Jabber actually holds back when fighting others, as he wants to get beaten down to a pulp as much as he can. Yeah, I know, strange guy, right? But that's why he holds back on his vital instrument. But on those rare occasions that he can go all out, that's when he feels the best. And at that point, he even starts to disregard allies and just anyone really. Now, abilities. So Jabber is one of the most dangerous and strongest raiders. He also has super strength, pretty much, as his brute force combined with his vital instrument has been shown to easily cut through stones. Jabber's endurance is also insane, as most likely thanks to him getting beaten so much, he doesn't show any reaction to pain, like when Zanka broke his ribs, or even when Rio shot him. Even when she shot him, she knew that he would get back up eventually, thanks to his endurance. His agility is also top-notch, as in the fight between him and Rudo, he was seen jumping on the floating pieces of stone, and even jumping on the walls like Spider-Man. His vital instrument is called Mankira, and is made up of 10 rings. First, he's got his suppressed form, which, once activated, transforms the rings into claws. The right-hand claws contain neurotoxins, while the left-hand claws contain poison. We then have his release form, which is the real form of Mankira that he uses when he goes all out. Here, his Mankira increases in size, and his claws are now attached to his fingers by strings, which boosts his range of attacks. Zodel. He's the main bad guy in the series and also, well, obviously, the leader of the Raiders. In the past, Zodel was unwillingly part of a group that worshipped the refuse from the sphere, having been forced into it by his mother, along with his sister. Eventually, he discovered his coat and seized control of the Raiders, and is now devoted to collecting every Watchmen series item and destroying the sphere. Zodel is a very cold, but extremely calculated man, rarely showing any emotion, which I feel like is a trademark for the Raiders at this point. But we are far from done with him, as he is also very smart, as he has been shown to have great knowledge of the vital instruments and how they generally work. He also has great leadership, which I would hope that he does, as he is leading the raiders. On top of that, he also has enhanced reflexes and super good speed, which has been shown both against Kuro and Bundus. Now, sorry for cutting that part short, but I really want to get into his vital instrument, which is a part of the Watchman series, and it's called Mishra. Mishra is a coat that allows him to mutate his body into whatever form based on what he eats. Along with that, he can create and control spiky appendages to attack opponents with. Also, together with Mishra, he can sprout wings to fly long distances, which is a great add-on. A fun little thing to add about him also is that he has previously shown a failed Watchman series. This is a charm that he failed to turn into a piece of the Watchman series.